For many years now, the wealthiest people list has been dominated by tech giants like Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, and Mark Zuckerberg. In May 2021, it was the first time that a luxury brand owner was the wealthiest person, and that too a non American. It was the first time that a European was holding the title of the wealthiest person. Bernard Arnault, a French businessman and the CEO of LVMH, dethroned all the tech moguls and became the richest person in the world, with a net worth of whopping $190 billion. LVMH, who owns the 75 prestigious brands, which includes Louis Vuitton, Tiffany, Christian Dior, Marc Jacobs, Fendi, Sephora, and Benefit Cosmetics. But out of all the luxury brands that LVMH owns, none of them were created by Bernard Arnault, unlike all other tech giants who are the founder of their own companies. Today, the 73-year-old Bernard Arnault and his 5 kids oversee LVMH and are who's who of overpriced luxury fashion brands. But all this didn't come without a price. Bernard Arnault has been in many controversies, and one of the biggest controversies that captured the limelight for him was his hostile takeover attempt of Gucci. Gucci became the biggest failure for Bernard Arnault, or I should say, the only failed acquisition for this luxury fashion giant. Bernard Arnault, like every other fashion brand, tried to take over Gucci. But Gucci was so reluctant to not sell his independence and identity to this king of fashion. The battle between these two fashion powerhouses was not only about the financial gains, but it was a struggle for dominance in the fashion world. The strategic maneuvers employed by both sides during the takeover attempt, and Gucci successfully pushed back LVMH. In this story today, we will talk about the untold war between LVMH and Gucci. How did LVMH try to do a hostile takeover attempt of Gucci? And how it became the biggest failure for LVMH and Bernard Arnault. We will see why Gucci was so reluctant not to be merged with LVMH. And finally, we will see how Kering Group saved Gucci from LVMH. So if you are interested to know more about this untold war between the two largest fashion empires, then stick around. Gucci was founded in 1921 by Gaucho Gucci. When he passed away in 1953, his sons and their families had many battles over the ownership stake. After many financial losses over the years, in 1988, 48% of Gucci was sold to Bahrain-based investment firm and Tiffany owner Investcorp. Later, the third generation of Gucci tried to revamp, but due to more financial troubles, the rest of the Gucci was also sold to Investcorp in 1993. In 1994, Domenico Di Sole, legal advisor to the Gucci family, became the CEO of Gucci. Tom Ford was also hired as a creative head. Both of them worked in reviving the image of Gucci and making it profitable. Gucci was the first Italian company to successfully expand in the US market. In 1995, Gucci went public and was listed on the New York Stock Exchange. By this time, LVMH also became a high-end luxury fashion empire in Europe and started the expansion in the United States, all due to the incredible business acumen of French businessman Bernard Arnault, who after acquiring Christian Dior acquired majority stake in LVMH and became the chairman and CEO of this luxurious fashion brand. After that, with his brilliant business sense, he expanded to acquire many other top labels in the world into the LVMH group. And by the late 1990s, LVMH had become the first multi-brand fashion house. The story of this rivalry started with the attempt to take over Gucci by Prada's CEO, who in 1998 had acquired a good chunk of Gucci in an attempt to have a strategic partnership with the company. But Gucci didn't want this deal or any merger between the two companies. By this time, Bernard Arnault became interested in Gucci, and rumors have started that Bernard is buying shares of Gucci in an attempt to take over the company like many other fashion brands. Di Sole and Tom Ford were worried as they were aware of the Bernard's business practices, but they were not able to stop him. Only thing they could do was to keep a check on Gucci's shareholders, and they were working with their banker Morgan Stanley on any big stock purchases. But the Wolf of Kashmir was behind them, and the fateful day came on Jan 5, 1999, when Louis Vuitton president Dave Carcel called Di Sole to inform him that LVMH had acquired a 5% stake in Gucci. As per Carcel, there was not much to worry at that point, and that the investment was purely passive, and Bernard's intent was nothing but friendly. Carcel also mentioned that the news would go out public the same day. Di Sole knew that one day this would come, and he also knew that Bernard won't stop here. And unfortunately, he was right again. Right after getting the news of takeover attempt by Bernard, Di Sole called his banker James MacArthur in Morgan Stanley. James mentioned that he is going on a year-long sabbatical and won't be able to serve Di Sole. But he introduced Diesel to his senior Michael Zoe. When Michael learned about the situation and checked the papers, he was surprised to see the defense clauses. Diesel's contract said that he had to resign in the event of a change in corporate control. Tom Ford's contract said that he will be out if any of the Gucci shareholders acquire 35% of the company's stock. Within 3 days, the news was out in all of the fashion world. Everyone knew Bernard would continue buying shares of Gucci. After all, $8.7 billion was not a big deal for Bernard. He had done this before and can do it again. So now there were only two options. First was to negotiate with Bernard only. Second, to find someone who is interested in Gucci and can buy a big stake in Gucci before LVMH took over. But it was not easy to find someone else in the fashion industry who had big pockets and was interested in Gucci after knowing Bernard's interest. No one wants to be in rivalry with him. Fashion is an industry where everything is expensive. Even small mistakes can be very, very expensive. One such mistake was done by Diesel of not taking Bernard seriously. On January 8th, Morgan Stanley's banker Michael warned Diesel that Bernard might go to Prada for more shares and asked Diesel to call them. But Diesel didn't take this seriously. On January 10th, Diesel got news that Bernard got Prada's share of Gucci and now owns 15% stake in Gucci. While Diesel, Ford and Michael from Morgan Stanley were looking into the options now to find the investor for Gucci, Bernard was busy buying more shares of the company. Bernard was now doing everything to acquire the fashion brand. And this was the same company he backed out from in 1994 when Investcorp tried to sell it to Bernard for just $400 million. As per Bernard, he backed because Gucci was worth nothing then. In the next 5 years, Diesel and Tom Ford made it worth $8.7 billion and worth fighting for. Soon, Bernard had a 34.4% stake in Gucci. After failing in finding any investor, Diesel arranged meetings with Bernard and gave him the option to either buy the whole company or reduce his stake to 20%, get 2 seats on board, and let him and Tom work independently. Initially, Bernard was thinking about the second option, but in their last meeting on February 8th, he backed out. Now it was a do or die situation for Gucci. When they were not able to convince Bernard or find any investor, they created an investor. Yes, that's what it is called. When companies go into trouble, they do this as a last option. Gucci did this too. They created an employee stock ownership plan or ESOP and created 20 million new Gucci shares, which diluted Bernard's ownership to 25.6%. It was not that Bernard and his alley of lawyers didn't think about the new shares that Gucci can create. After all, they were experts in buying and acquiring companies here and there. But even the smartest people make mistakes. When LVMH lawyers checked the regulations, they found about the New York Stock Exchange rule where Gucci was listed. As per the rule, no company can issue new shares that are more than 20% of its capital. But this rule had a loophole, and it was applicable to only American companies, which didn't apply to Gucci. But LVMH still went and filed a case, but the court rejected their request to close the loophole and asked both parties to negotiate. This step of Gucci had turned the Cold War between the two companies into a full-fledged battle. As per the court's order, both parties met again. But this time, Diesel had no intentions of negotiations. In fact, he was looking out for an investor. The ESOP gave them some time to find a new buyer. And this time, they got one. François Pinault, a self-made billionaire from Paris, was interested in Gucci. Though by this time Pinault had no experience of the fashion world, Diesel and Ford wanted his money only. So the deal was done, and Pinault got 42% of stake in Gucci with $3 billion. But now Bernard's stake was just 19.6%. On March 19th, the news went public. This was the day when Gucci and LVMH were about to meet for the final round of negotiations. But their meeting went like it never happened. Of course, Bernard was not happy. But now he had two options only. Either to sit quietly as a minority stakeholder in Gucci with his 19.6% stake, or try his final attempt to buy Gucci and bid 100% stake for $8.7 billion. Of course, he chose the later one and made an offer the same day. He also sued Gucci to block the deal with Pinault. The legal battles are tough, and this time the battle was not for money only. It was for name, prestige, egos, and most importantly, for becoming the next fashion giant. The case went on for 2 months. On May 27th, the Amsterdam court gave the judgment in favor of Gucci and affirmed the Gucci-Pinault partnership. But this didn't end here. The battle went on for next 2 years until in October 2001, both sides agreed and LVMH sold its stake to Prologue. And as they say, all is well when the end is well. This 2.5-year long battle was ultimately profitable for everyone. LVMH made $700 million of profit by selling the shares of Gucci. Prologue and his company Kering Group were able to successfully acquire Gucci with a majority stake. Gucci went in good hands and Dissol and Tom Ford together saved Gucci and ran it for next 4 years independently. But there is one more important outcome. A partnership between Tom Ford and Dissol which gave the world another luxury fashion brand. Yes, the Tom Ford label, a luxury fashion house founded by Tom Ford and Dissol in 2005. So, that was the untold war between LVMH and Gucci. Let us know what you think about it. Whom do you think got the most profits from this deal? Gucci, LVMH or Kering Group? Let us know in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this video, please do like it. If you are new here, please subscribe to the channel and help us grow. We are trying to bring more amazing business stories to you. Also, let us know what other business stories you would like to see. With that said, I shall catch you in the next one. Thank you and have a nice day.